Ruler quilting is for everyone, whether you're a home domestic machine quilter or a long arm quilter on a frame or a sit-down table. Let's use the STITCHLINE Ruler channel feature to stitch squares on point without marking. We're going to stitch this design using just 2 reference lines on the quilt sandwich. Those lines that I drew on the quilt sandwich represent the seams in a border or sashing. We're lining up the first crosshair at the top of the ruler with the corner. See those 2 arrows? Those arrows on the ruler indicate the reference line that I'm using to stop stitching. They're pointing right now at the seam, which is the line I drew on the quilt sandwich. I stop there, and then I'm going to turn the ruler back to the top at the crosshairs. I'm lining up the crosshair lines with the seam. Again, I'm going to stop where the reference line is as indicated by the 2 arrows. Now those 2 arrows are pointed toward the seam. I stop there. Then I go the opposite direction. The angle of the ruler is indicated by the crosshairs. Those crosshair lines are lining up with the seam. Those 2 arrows are pointing at the reference line on the ruler. I am using the reference lines on the ruler to consistently stitch the angle I need to create the design. And I just go back and forth. I like to stitch in passes, meaning I'll stitch down the border or the sashing once, and then I'll go back a second time. So this is the second time, starting at the top, lining up the crosshair reference lines, stitching to the seam, which is the 2 arrows are pointing at the seam. Remember, the 2 lines in the fabric that I drew are the seams in a pieced project. This is just a quilt sandwich. I'm going to stitch to those 2 arrows, which indicate the reference line in the ruler that I need to stop. I rotate the ruler, I line up the reference lines in the crosshair with the seam, then I stitch again to the reference lines indicated by the arrows. There are the 2 lines on the crosshair, and there's another one. Stitch straight to the 2 arrows. Once your reference lines are in place, then you begin stitching. Always check. I'm checking to make sure all my reference lines are where they're supposed to be. Then I stitch to the 2 arrows, which is again pointed at the seam. And that's it. No marking to stitch this. Remember, I did mark it. However, if it was a pieced quilt, we would not need to mark to stitch this design. I'm Geraldine Wilkins, the Living Water Quilter. I help quilters go from frustration to fabulous with 2 techniques, free motion quilting and acrylic ruler quilting. And I am excited to share this new acrylic ruler with you. It is an essential ruler to help you master straight line quilting, whether it's straight line with a straight edge or straight lines with the channel, which is fantastic for stitching in the ditch. But that's not all it can do. It can do a whole lot more, and I'm going to show you.